JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 17th of November 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yeah, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now, jumping into the charts. Now, the first one I want to pick up here is a Nikkei 225. So the index managed to reach this level that I talked about yesterday and basically last week as well. I talked about this one, this 26,017 territory, which, as you can see, I cannot scroll back on this daily chart. Basically, I need to go back into a monthly chart, and that level is the lowest point here, the lowest point of April of 1990, and also is near the highest point of March of 1991. So, or in other words, the highest point of 1991. And yep, we've managed to reach that. Now look at this beautiful monthly candle. I mean, don't get me wrong, at some point we will have a bit of a correction here to the downside. However, looking at this daily picture here, I mean, daily candle, I mean, it's really unclear when that correction might happen. For now, we'll be very careful. If, of course, this territory does provide some sort of good resistance, then we might see a bit of a retracement here back down. But yeah, for now, that's the only thing we can do is basically look at this one as it flies higher. However, if you want to jump on this one right now on the bandwagon, then, well, I mean, it could be that it's a little bit of a difficulty here because we don't want to chase the market. We want to enter at the, let's say, more specific areas where we could benefit from better, I would say. But here, for example, now it would be chasing the market, so I'm gonna leave this one out, and I'm gonna continue observing this one, and I'll see how it plays out, because again, we are near this key resistance area, which we did overshoot a little bit. However, as you can see, it closed still below this 26,017 zone, so fractionally, of course, but nevertheless it closed below it. So yep, let's see how this is going to play out now. And again, if we apply some nice good old technical analysis, we can see that we could be seeing here a potential hammer here, maybe a reversal sign. So yeah, that's why be very careful in that as well. Now jumping into Shanghai Composite, here it's a little bit more, the index is a little bit more modest. So as I mentioned to you guys previously, that in a way, in order to start looking at some higher levels, I would need to see this one pushing at least above the 3,368 territory right here. But as you can see, yep, it's basically stuck here. I mean, it didn't really move much, and basically the same analysis remains as I mentioned to you guys yesterday, that if in order to aim for some higher levels, we need to see a nice good push above this 3,368 territory. But in order to consider the slightly lower areas, I didn't want to say the downside, but slightly lower areas, we would need to see a good drop in a daily close below this 21-day EMA, which, as you can see, continues to provide decent support. So yep, a nice good drop and a daily close below this 21-day EMA may attract a few more sellers. the German DAX failed to climb above that 13,300 level I talked about yesterday, and basically now we're kind of a little bit in a pickle here, because on one hand we do have ourselves a nice bullish flag here, but which of course means that there is a good chance for this one to move higher. However, we are struggling with this barrier still, so again, for the bullish flag here, we would still need to see a nice good clear move above this 13,300 zone. But if we see the index drifting lower, and let's say if we see the index maybe moving below, not this territory right here, probably, let me just adjust this very quickly, but below somewhere here, the low of the 13th of November, which is Friday, and that area is roughly around the 13,000 mark. So if we get a nice drop below the 13,000 level, yes, we could maybe consider a bit of a decline. However, as I mentioned to you guys previously, still the same idea will remain valid, that I would need to see this one dropping back below this downside line and maybe somewhere below this 12,842 territory. Then yes, we could consider some lower areas, guys, so be very careful. For now, that's the game plan, but yeah, let's see how all this is going to play out. For now, yes, on one hand we do have ourselves a nice bullish flag. However, on the other hand, we do have an index which is slightly maybe extended to the upside in the short run, so that's why we could see maybe a bit of a correction to lower. However, we don't have a clear indication of a possible correction yet. DXY, so the dollar index is currently floating near this 92.47 territory. I talked about this yesterday, so basically just a quick update. In a way, it drifted lower, but now let's see if this area can continue to provide support, because this is what exactly what it's doing right now. So if we get a drop below this and we get a further move lower here, and we get a drop below the this key support zone near the 92.24 level, then yes, this is where I'll get a little bit more excited with the downside. With the upside, to get a little bit more excited with that, then I would need to see a push at least above the 93.20 zone right here, and then aim for some higher levels. Now gold. Gold is very interesting. So yesterday we saw this heavy decline here, but the bulls were kind of strong enough to lift the commodity back up. However, the commodity is still struggling with this 21-day EMA, shown as the yellow line here. Of course, don't get me wrong, if it breaks that, then yes, we'll aim for some higher levels, but to be able to get a little bit more excited with that, then maybe a push above the 1911 territory, somewhere around here, just for that extra confirmation would be needed, and then yes, we could get a little bit, like I said, more excited with higher levels. At the moment, I'm playing the waiting game. WTI Oil, also quick update. Yesterday the commodity popped higher. It overcame this 41.46 level, but as you can see, it struggled to kind of remain nicely above it. So again, we're having a bit of a difficulty here. On one hand, the commodity is showing willingness to travel higher, however, it's still struggling with this whole highlighted area. That's why probably I would need to see this one maybe jumping a little bit higher here, maybe pushing above yesterday's high. That's what just could strengthen that upside scenario. And the upside, yesterday's high was around the 42.08 level, and then if we get a nice break above that, then yep, it could potentially open the door towards higher levels. But again, be very careful with this one. In terms of the downside, I would prefer maybe now to see a drop below this 40.12 zone in order to get a little bit more excited maybe with the downside. But again, I'll be very careful still, because if we get a drop below this area, we still have these EMAs here, and which could provide a bit of support. But if those get broken and the price drops below the 39.34 territory, now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for more sellers. Litecoin, so Litecoin, and let me just clear up this chart, remove all the drawings, and basically we'll have a nice fresh start. So cryptos, Litecoin, here we have a nice up move here. Of course, we are trading above a few of these tentative upside lines here. Now this is just one of them. The other one probably you could draw here. Up there we go. So another tentative upside line, slightly steeper one. We'll keep an eye on this one. We'll keep an eye on actually on both of these, and yep, let's see how this is going to play out, because for now everything's kind of looking quite interesting here for Litecoin. But don't get me wrong, we are quite overstretched here, of course, obviously, because yesterday we saw this nice jump here from $62 up all the way to $74. So basically, yep, a decent move here. On that way higher, the crypto managed to overcome this highest point of August, and yep, that's where the fun started, and basically more buyers started jumping into this one. This level here is roughly around the 68.94 territory. And now basically what's going to happen here, I'm going to start looking at this potential move here towards the 80.27 territory, or towards this highest point of this year, and that's roughly around 84.19 zone. But again, don't get me wrong, I mean, at some point we might see a bit of a correction here to the downside. So basically, let's see how this is going to play out here, because at the moment there is a possibility to see this one maybe stalling around here somewhere, maybe around this area, maybe flagging out in general, maybe doing a nice bullish flag here, and if so, then yes, another pop here could be possible. So keep that idea in mind. If you missed this run here, well, that's it. I mean, don't rush into it right now, because again, yes, it could travel higher, but don't get me wrong, I mean, after such beautiful moves here as yesterday, then we could see a bit of consolidation, and basically this could result in a nice this could end up being a nice pull here for a potential bullish flag. But of course, if that's going to be the case, but again, maybe jumping a little bit ahead of myself here, but yeah, let's see if that's going to play out like that. AUDCAD, now here the pair reached one of its key resistance levels. Now I talked about this one previously, as if you can see, basically previously I talked about this this potential break here, this downside line. Then what I was saying next, then if we get a push above the 0.9450 territory, my next target will be this 0.9583, which we managed to reach perfectly. Now let me just remove all the drawings. Basically, I'll have a fresh start here. So the area here that was reached, this 0.9583 zone, it provided very good resistance, and the pair it continues to trade above this upside support line, tentative of course, but nevertheless a short-term upside support line drawn from the low of the 21st of October. Let's see if this area continues to provide resistance or not, because if it does, then we might see a nice correction here to the downside. We do have a bunch of support levels which previously acted as a good resistance level. So for example, one of them is this one, the 0.9515. Then slightly below that we do have this beautiful level, the 0.9434 territory, which also could provide a bit of support. And yep, for now guys, let's see how this is going to play out. But for now, if this continues to provide decent support, then we could see a bit of a correction here to the downside. If it doesn't, if it breaks this level straight away, then my next target is the highest point of September near the 0.9668 territory, and just fractionally above that we do have the highest point of July near the 0.9696 level. So keep your eyes on that one. USDJPY, by the way, let me just quickly, I think we do have a bit of data coming out today, so guys, that's something to keep in mind, of course. Now again, we did already have some data from the RBA, and we had the RBA meeting minutes, so that didn't really kind of just confirm the previous stuff. But in terms of the later data, we do have retail sales from the US, so that's going to be quite interesting. Of course, keep your eyes on the market here and how all this is going to play out. But for now, basically for now it's here on USDJPY. We're seeing that the pair is trading below this hurdle. Where I talked about this one, what I was saying that if it drops below the 104.95 territory, then we might see a bit of a correction here to the downside, and that's exactly what's happening. So the pair, as you can see, dropped below this hurdle, it drifted lower, and now my next target is this 104 zone. So let's see if we can reach that. For now, that's going to be the game plan. So yep, let's be very careful, of course, don't get me wrong, because we don't want to get caught out on this one. And to be honest, USDJPY has not been the most clear one to trade, and for now, basically, yes, it continues to trade below this downside line taken from the high of the 24th of March. Yeah, at the moment it's a little bit tricky. Of course, like I said, at the moment I'm aiming for this 104 zone, but let's see if it's gonna work out this way, because again, like I said, the USDJPY recently has not been the most clear one to trade, because look at these choppy kind of sessions here. So yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult one. USDCHF is a little bit more clear, I would say. However, so still trades below the downside line here, taken from the high of the 28th of September. Currently seems to be forming a possible bullish flag. Now, will it actually end up being a bullish flag? Well, let's see, because again, even if it is bullish flag, still, as you can see by the arrow drawn here, still I would need to see a clear break above the 0.9197 territory, or in a way you could round it up towards the 0.92 zone. A move above that may open the door towards higher levels, but at the moment, I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand here, because again, it's a little bit of a tricky one. So let's not rush into anything yet. For now, guys, let's keep an eye on this one, and if it drops below the 0.1993 territory right here, now this is where maybe we could aim for slightly lower areas right here. However, we'll still be very careful, because again, it seems that for now the traders are undecided what to do with the dollar itself. So let's see how that's going to play out. GBPCHF, previously I talked about this one, basically worked out nicely here. Now what I'm going to get rid of this Fibonacci first of all, so all the levels got reached. Well, not all, but most of those that I was aiming for. So the 38.2 and the 50% retracement were reached. Now the big question here is, can this other part of this idea work out? So basically what I was talking about previously, that after a good rally that we had here last week, the pair might correct a little bit lower, maybe test this 200-day EMA, which it did, and then rebound and push higher. The pair did test the 200-day EMA, but also drifted slightly below it, and ended up being here. But then here, what I can admit is that it didn't really work out nicely, because what I was saying previously, that if it drops and stays below the 200-day EMA, then maybe we could go for a bit of a larger correction to the downside. However, as you can see, the next day, kind of after it dropped and stayed below this 200-day EMA, it reversed to the upside here and is now climbing back up. So basically, kind of, I would say partially this idea is working out. So what I can say here is that yes, we will continue targeting the upside, especially if the pair starts pushing above yesterday's high here near the 1.2077 territory. So let's keep an eye on that one. Could be quite interesting, but again, also be very careful, cautious, and yeah, let's see how this is going to play out. And finally, EURUSD. So maybe this time I'm not going to rush through this one. So yeah, apologies for that yesterday. But looking at this picture here, first of all, of course, let's start from the fact that it's still stuck here in this range, roughly between the 1.1612 and the 1.1880 here. So now it's closer now to the upper bound again. So again, it's showing willingness to travel higher. However, as I've mentioned to you previously, guys, I need to see that daily candle staying above this area, above this highlighted area, above the upper bound of this range, because what I don't want to see here is what we had back here on the 6th and 7th and then 9th of November, where we had these false breakouts, but we didn't really get that daily candle remaining above this area. So a nice good push above this, a nice good daily candle remaining above this area might increase the chances for this pair to drift further north. I'm not going to drag this one way too much to the upside. Initially, I'm going to just target the psychological 120 territory, and then we'll take it from there, because again, it might provide resistance, this 1.20 zone, and then the pair could start declining again, and basically kind of confirming a possible wider range. Just so something like that could be possible, and I've seen this happening several times. So yeah, guys, that's why be very careful, and if you want to aim for some higher levels, then wait for a break above the 1.1880 territory, and then yes, like I said, keep your eyes on that daily candle. If you want to look at some slightly lower areas, then a drop below the 1.1795 territory right here may provide maybe good opportunities here for the sellers, because at the same time the rate would be placed below the 21-day EMA here. So guys, I'll have to wrap it up here. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for joining in. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for the likes. Like I said, I really appreciate that as well. And if you want to catch my video later on, my traders tea time, as always, 14:15 GMT. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, guys. Stay safe both health-wise and market-wise, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.